Selling AI infrastructures is easily the best way to get rich in 2025, and I'm about to show you exactly why. Okay, so when you're starting any sort of business or you're looking to get into any specific opportunity, you have lots of opportunities to choose from. But how do you choose? How do you know which one is the best one? Okay, well, there's a multitude of factors. Factor number one is the barrier to entry. How hard or how easy is it to get into this specific opportunity? So what is the actual barrier to starting this opportunity? Well, let me tell you something. Quote unquote easy opportunities are an illusion. Okay, so if somebody's preaching how a specific business model or opportunity is easy to start, do not start it. Avoid it at all costs. And here's the truth about easy opportunities. If the opportunity is quote unquote easy, so for example, if somebody's like, hey, start drop shipping because it's easy, it's easy to set up, or, become an online coach, it's easy. The truth is, if it's easy to start, that's going to lead to more competition because people are lazy. They don't want to do the initial work up front to get into harder things. So people are always chasing the easy thing. And so if you get into an easy opportunity, there's going to be more competition, which means in the long run, it's going to be harder to make money. Okay, so it's not actually easier. And so you want to aim to do harder things where there's some sort of initial barrier to entry where not everyone can partake in it. So if you choose to do a harder opportunity, there's going to be less people because it's not as appealing to the mass where, everyone wants to, actually put in the effort to do harder things. If you choose to do a harder opportunity, there's going to be less competition and it's going to be easier to make money in the long run. So it's an illusion. The easier opportunities are actually the harder opportunities to succeed with. They might be easier to start, but they're harder to succeed with. While on the other hand, the harder opportunities, they might take more effort to start, but it's easier to succeed with once you've got things going. Okay? And so when it comes to selling AI services, what is the quote unquote easy opportunity? Well, it's selling a commodity offer. If you're somebody who just sells one AI mechanism or one AI tool, like a voice dialer or, some sort of chatbot or something, and you don't want to take the time and the efforts to solve the entire gap between your prospect's current and their desired situation, then you have a commodity offer. Okay, your offer's not unique. You're always going to be struggling with competition, always going to be lowering your prices, which is a race to the bottom. And also it's high competition. Since literally, anyone can learn how to set up a voice dialer or a chatbot. It's just not a game you want to get into. It's not worth it. Okay, you don't want to sell your time for money. You don't want to have to compete, like Peter Thiel said, co-founder of PayPal. Don't compete, dominate. Okay, competition is a waste of time. So how do you dominate? Well, you can take this commodity offer. So once you've picked a market and you've identified their current situation and their desired situation. So what is their current situation and what is the situation they want to get to? For example, most markets is going to be getting predictable, high quality lead flow. Once you've identified that, you want to package your offer into an AI infrastructure. Okay, so what does that look like? So you have their current and their desired situation, and then identify what is all the problems in between it. Okay, what are all the problems that's stopping them from reaching their desired situation? From there, you create a sequence of mechanisms and AI mechanisms so you can position yourself as somebody who's selling an AI infrastructure, okay? Because right now, I'm going to cover it later in this video, there's a huge demand for AI, especially in local businesses like HVAC, professional service businesses like chiropractors. These people aren't too educated on things like marketing on AI, but they know they need it. They know if they don't implement it in the long run, their competitors who did implement it will probably take their market share and they're going to struggle to put food on the table. So there's a huge urgent demand for it, and now there just needs to be supply to fulfill it. Okay, and so once again, once you've identified a current and their desired situation, you see what are all the problems in between, and you create different mechanisms. So for example, if the first problem is lead flow, okay, if the first problem is lead flow, then you can create their meta ads, or you can create AI creatives for them, which there's a lot of tools to create high quality AI creatives like arcads.ai. You can create AI creatives for them, which completely automates the process of recording ads for them. You create AI creatives and you run their ads for them. Boom, that's problem number one solved. So that's lead flow problem solved. Problem number two is lead nurture. You can implement an AI voice dialer and also maybe some CRM and a GHL snapshot that gives them email sequences, SMS follow-ups, that type of thing. That's problem number two solved. And problem number three might be either sales process or some sort of inefficiency where you can implement more mechanisms and AI tools to solve that. And so don't you see the difference? This is just you putting one little AI tool in their business where you're charging maybe $500, $1,000 per implementation. You're not solving any problem. You're just giving them one tool that you learned how to build. While this, you're seeing what problem they're having and you're reverse engineering how to solve that problem. And then you're implementing every tool that you build once, and you can plug and play it into businesses to solve their problem. And you can charge 10, 15, even 20K per install, per per package that you sell, depending on the market and the problem you're solving. Okay, one of the most important choices in your business is what market are you helping, and what are the problems you're solving for them. Okay, the more painful the problem, the more money you're going to make for solving it for them. Okay, and so this is a unique offer and it's low competition. So do not compete, do not get into the quote unquote easy opportunities, because in the long run, you're going to struggle to sell this, while this one might take a little more initial effort to set up and actually think through it. But in the long run, it's going to be easier for you because you don't have to compete with, 15-year-olds who learned how to, connect SynthFlow to make.com. I don't know. Okay, and so that's that. And so what is the second factor? Well, it's demand. Is there an actual demand for the service or thing you are selling? And so supply and demand is the cornerstone of business. Without supply and demand, capitalism, business, none of it exists. And so supply and demand create wealth. High demand for scarce goods or services means higher prices and profits. Like a rare skill or a hot product, low supply, high demand equals riches, equals generational wealth. And so what is the biggest catalyst for demand? Well, it's trends, okay? There's trends, especially huge trends like the one we're going through right now. Demand just skyrockets. Demand exponentially increases. It's insane. And so big trends create demand by changing what people want and need, pushing businesses to offer new solutions that match those shifts. And so Brad Jacobs, he has an $8 billion net worth. He's a CEO of a few companies. He said you can mess up a lot of things in business and still do well as long as you get the big trend right. Okay, which is absolutely true. The big trend, if you partake in a huge trend, then there's such a huge demand that if you mess up every other aspect of that business, you still have the demand. And if you have a supply to fulfill that demand, you're still going to make a shit ton of money. And so what is the biggest trend right now? If, it's pretty obvious, it's AI. Okay, and so businesses have been hearing about AI and they're already bought into the belief that it will change everything, because it truly will. It's not a fake trend. It's not, a fake piece of technology. It's truly going to change everything. And so businesses also know that they need to adopt and implement AI into their business, or else their competitors who did will take their market share. And so when you're selling something like content, ads, etc., half the battle is selling the belief that your market needs your solution, or else they won't be able to survive without it. And so due to the extremely high levels of competition and low levels of trust in the market and increasing sophistication, which simply means that people are more educated nowadays. You can't really, it's not as easy to put crazy guarantees in your ads. It's not as, easy to make crazy claims, because people have been bullshitted. They've learned, they're more educated nowadays. They know what's going on. Okay. And so since all those factors, it's harder than ever to sell the belief that your market truly needs your commoditized solution. And so this is where the beauty of AI kicks in. The beauty of AI is that every business is bought into the belief that they need AI, which is already half the battle. So if there's already a demand for your solution, that's already half the battle. That, if you're someone who's selling content or ads or some sort of normal service, you have to create demand. Okay, you have to create a belief within your prospect. You have to create the demand with your prospect that they need your solution. But since AI is so huge and they know it's going to change everything, there already is a demand for it, which is already half the battle won. Okay, and so, but they just don't know what's the best AI solution and how to implement it, which creates a gap in the market. Huge demand for AI, and there's a low supply of people who actually know how to fulfill it and implement valuable AI infrastructure systems into these local, specifically local businesses. Because I recommend, if you're starting out in the beginning and you're somebody who might not have as much money to leverage, or maybe you do have a lot of money to leverage, always target local businesses in the beginning. You're gonna get the lowest cost per book call, lowest cost to acquire a customer, lowest cost per lead, and you just get the most bang for your buck. And then from there you can scale into adjacent markets, whatever you choose, but always start with local markets. Okay, so these are especially home service businesses, HVAC businesses, roofers, home remodeling. You can go to professional services, law firms, chiropractors, dentists, etc. Okay, and so there's a huge demand for it, a low supply, which creates a huge gap in the market, which basically means, hey, it's time for a lot of people to become rich. Especially, right now we're living in the biggest industrial revolution ever, and so the AI demand is clearly validated. Okay, which is already half the battle. And so what is the third factor? It's earning potential. Okay, can you actually make a lot of money? Can you actually create wealth from this opportunity? And so let's find out. And so AI is estimated to add around $15.7 trillion of value to the global economy by 2030. And just to put that into perspective for you, the internet by 2020 had added $10 trillion to the global economy. AI by 2030, so 5 years from now, is already going to surpass that, adding $15.7 trillion of value to the global economy, which is insane. And so businesses have problems that need to be solved, and businesses know that they need to implement AI. And so you create an AI infrastructure offer that solves the gap between their current and their desired situation. Okay, like we already went over today. Every business has a current and their desired situation, and you create an offer, an AI infrastructure offer that bridges that entire gap that you plug and play into their business. And so you charge up to 10K per implementation, especially if you choose to go into these local markets, HVAC, roofers, Cairo, law firms. Understand that these are businesses who make a shit ton of money. They provide real solid value. They provide real services to the world, and they always allocate a specific amount of budget towards marketing. Okay. Yesterday, I was on a call with an HVAC business that does around $15 million per revenue. They're based in Canada. They're looking to scale into the American market, and they're looking to, allocate some of their marketing budget towards implementing an AI marketing system. So the demand and the market for this is huge. Okay. And once, if you're dealing with these huge businesses, not even necessarily huge, but if you're dealing with these local businesses who provide real solid value, then charging 10, 15, 20, 25K per implementation for them, it's not a lot of money to them. Okay, it's not a lot of money for them because, first of all, this is not a monthly recurring service. This is a system, a valuable infrastructure that you're placing into their business that's going to serve them forever. Okay, and so if you don't know how to exactly structure an AI infrastructure offer, I have tons of videos on my YouTube channel going over the pricing, how to actually do the fulfillment, all everything A through Z that you can check out. And so how does it work? To give you a high level overview, you build the system once, you plug and play it into every client's business. And what is this? If you're building the system once and it works for you forever, it's called leverage. Okay. It's highly leveraged. And without leverage, it's going to take you 50, 100 years to make your first $1 million, which is not what we want to do. Okay. And so you build the AI solution once, the AI infrastructure, and you plug and play it into businesses forever. You leverage it forever because you've already built it, and you just plug and play it, personalize it to the business you're implementing, and it solves problems forever, and you get paid up to 10, 15, 20K per implementation that for each business you implement it. And so the bottom line is that you want to ensure whatever opportunity you get into is sustainable. If it is highly competitive and there's low demand and there's low profit margins, then it's literally impossible to create a sustainable business that will make you wealthy. And this is exactly why selling AI infrastructures is the best opportunity to get into right now. The demand is already proven and the barrier to entry is high enough that not everyone is willing to pursue it, but those that do have an opportunity to partake in it, that want to actually put in the effort up front to create an AI infrastructure offer, will partake in a revolution that will add trillions of dollars to the global economy and will probably change their lives forever. And so I'm not even over exaggerating. It probably sounds like I'm over exaggerating or I'm talking out of my ass, but please understand that right now this is literally the craziest time to be alive. Okay, probably the most funnest time to be alive. I mean, humanoid robots are coming alive, AI. The world is changing. Okay, the world is changing, and when the world is changing, that's the time to make the most amount of money. Okay, so there's a huge demand right now. So if you can find a way to get a piece of the value that AI is going to add to the global economy, then you're set for life. And so the first link in the description is a free one-on-one AI value call with me. If you want to learn more about selling AI infrastructure offers, how to take advantage of the huge amount of value that AI is going to add to the global economy, how to take a small piece of it, like we're all trying to do, then you can click that link and book a free one-on-one AI value call with me. And other than that, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.